Hello, welcome everybody, and thanks for joining us today for this webinar on quality assurance for fashion e-commerce. I'm Enrico Fantaguzzi and I'll be your host today together with Lorenzo Fanetti from Unguess. In this webinar, I'm going to share with you some best practices on quality assurance that I learned working for large fashion companies. But first, let me quickly introduce myself. I'm a digital consultant for fashion and luxury companies and the co-founder of Digital Fashion Academy. Before starting this new adventure in e-learning and consultancy, I worked for more than 20 years for fashion companies, from small brands to large multinational companies and e-tailers. Most of the things I learned on quality assurance are actually coming not from a fashion industry today, but from the digital entertainment and also from luxury. So let's get to it. So today we'll be talking about the importance of quality assurance and why it's critical for the success of fashion e-commerce. I'll present you with some working ideas and guidelines to organize the quality assurance processes in your company. And finally, we will cover some best practices that you should keep in mind when you speak with your developers or your system integrator. We'll discuss what to ask them during negotiations of contracts and what to include in the contract so that the final result will meet your expectations. So, what is the purpose of quality assurance for fashion e-commerce? Well, we briefly mentioned it also during our introduction. The purpose of quality assurance is to make sure that the digital product will meet the expectations of the client, which is you, and the final users of the digital product itself, which are your customers. To be more specific, when we talk about expectations, we talk about requirements and specifications. Requirements and specifications are different from expectations because they are clearly stated and documented in one or more documents. On top of that, you may have other expectations to meet because of regulations such as GDPR or other legal constraints that are mandatory. Finally, there are a set of expectations that are not written, but you still need to consider them as part of your project because some of these expectations could be expectations of your management or other stakeholders somehow involved in the project. Now, let's try to define better what are requirements and what are specifications. These are technical terms that perhaps are already familiar to some of you, but I'll give you some examples so you can fix them in your mind. Examples of requirements are the ability to create an account, the ability to check out as guest, the ability to pay by installments instead of one single transaction, the ability to choose among different shipping options, ability to filter only specific sizes during the search, the ability to search for keywords with a search tool, the visibility of shipping costs and taxes during the checkout process. Examples of specifications are the compatibility of the digital product with devices and operating systems, the sizes of the images on the website and banners, frequency of data exchange between the systems, the format and the number of results per each page. So where do we put all these requirements and specifications? Generally, these elements are usually written into one or more project documents. The most frequently used document is the Product Requirements document, also called PRD, which is usually owned and written by the manager who is responsible for the e-commerce platform. If the product requirements document is not available, we can write requirements and specifications directly into the project plan. Finally, we can find part of the quality specifications and requirements also in the quality plan. Let's take a look at the essential parts of a quality assurance plan. The quality plan mainly serves the purpose of organizing the quality tests and quality assurance process, but it can also contain some specific requirements for the quality of the digital product. For example, the quality plan can refer to specific security tests that need to be done. On the other hand, the quality plan may indicate what tests are out of scope for the project. For example, if you're not planning to ship to Australia with your e-commerce, you should not spend time and energy to develop and test any specifications for that specific country. The quality plan can refer to other documents for specifications and requirements. For example, the quality plan can refer to wireframes or comps for everything that is related to design and the look and feel of the website in general. These documents are important because they will be used by your developers as their reference for what they need to develop and accomplish in their work. Besides the requirements, the quality plan describes the tests that need to be done, when they'll need to be done during the project, and how they will be carried out. The quality plan should also contain the go-live criteria. The go-live criteria are a set of conditions that you should meet in order to go live with the project. More precisely, it could state the exact number of bugs. For example, there cannot be more than 10 major bugs in the website if we want to go live with our project. Finally, the quality plan contains the procedures that the project team will need to follow during the quality assurance process. For example, who's responsible for testing, what, and how to use the bug tracking tool, how to classify the bugs and their severity. Now, let's take a look at what tests are usually done by fashion brands. There are several types of tests that can be run by fashion companies in order to make sure that the e-commerce platform is working according to the expectations. The smoke test is a simple test that aims at checking the core features of the digital product. These tests are usually done by developers during the development process to make sure that the core functionality are working correctly. It's a simple test that consists of trying the core features of a program, simulating the behavior of a user. To give an example, if you're implementing a text search on your website, the smoke test would be to type in a few keywords in your search box, like red leather bag if you sell leather handbags, and check if the results are consistent. In this stage, for example, the graphic design may not be relevant. The goal is to get consistent results. So if you search for red leather bag and you get a blue t-shirt as a result, the smoke test has failed. The integration test, it's a specific test to verify the correct passage or transmission of data from one system to another. For example, from the e-commerce platform to the company's ERP, and from the ERP to the warehouse management system, or from the e-commerce platform to the business intelligence platform. We can consider this test successful if the data is passed correctly from one system to another without loss of data and in the expected time frame. Then, the user acceptance test, or UAT. These are usually carried out together with the presence of the client and the developer. During the UAT, the client runs all the possible use cases, for example, the search of a product. Add a product to the wish list, move a product from the wish list to the cart, and complete the whole checkout process to make sure that everything is working as expected. These tests are usually done near the end of the development phase, when the product is almost ready to be delivered. Usually, the output of these tests are a list of bugs requested by the client that will be fixed by the developer. The fourth type of test is regression testing. Regression testing ensures that an application still functions as expected after any code changes, updates, or releases of other features on the same platform. Regression ensures the overall stability of the platform. These tests should be carried out by the quality team every time there is a new release on the website to make sure that all the features that were previously working fine are still working correctly. For example, if you're developing a new payment system, let's say that you are developing the pay by installments in your checkout, and during the development of this new feature, the credit card's payment is broken. And this was working fine before you implemented the new feature. So we have introduced a new bug in a previously working feature. In this case, we're talking about regression. There are other tests as well that fashion companies can run. For example, automated tests. It means that some specific functions of your digital product or website can be done automatically by software systems. Or the load test. The load test tells you how many users can effectively browse your website simultaneously. It means the overall capacity of your system. And security tests. How easy is your website to hack? So how secure is your system in general from any type of attacks? These are other tests that can be run by fashion companies to make sure that the e-commerce platform is secure. Let's take a look at the severity of the bugs. Bugs are defects, and they should not be confused with change requests or new features. Each bug has a specific severity. It can be a bug that is preventing the users from completely carrying out any activity on or the essential activity on your website. For example, a user cannot check out, which is blocking for the business. It can be critical, major, minor, or trivial. If you're not used to all these categorization of bugs, you can probably simplify your quality assurance processes by using only 3 of them. For example, blocking, major, and minor. A blocking bug, as we briefly mentioned, has an impact on one or more core functions of the product that can damage the entire brand image, the entire company, or block completely the business. For example, if the checkout of an e-commerce platform is not working, the user cannot complete the checkout and cannot pay, this is a blocking bug, and the website cannot be live with this situation. If the brand colors are wrong, this could be a blocking bug for the head of image, for example. And if the privacy statement is not correct, this could be a blocking issue for your legal department. Major bugs are when one or more functions are impacted by bugs, but the core functions of the website are still working. For example, if the checkout is working but it's not possible to pay by PayPal, this could be a major issue. The users are still able to check out with credit cards, but they are not able to pay with PayPal. Another major issue could be if the vouchers code are not working, so the users can pay full price but not use the discount feature, or if some of the products are missing. Minor bugs are the bugs that affect one or more aspects of the digital product, but there are no core features. For example, if the zoom feature in the product page is not working as expected, for example, it's not working at full screen but only partly of the screen, this could be a minor bug and can be fixed once the website is already live. If some bullet points are missing, for example, it could be a minor bug, or if one promotional banner is missing in one section. So who's responsible for doing the quality assurance process? The QA lead is probably the most important role in this process. Then there are the head of the functions, the heads of different departments, design, content, customer service, logistics, and then there are the testers, who are the people actively looking for bugs in the system. The QA lead has the biggest responsibility because he's in charge of drafting the quality plan, so writing the document itself, coordinating the test plan execution and the tests themselves, is the leader in the QA meetings and coordinates the team. He oversees the correct use of the bug tracking solution. Eventually, also, he oversees the whole quality assurance process, check that the bugs are reported correctly in the system, assign the bugs to the developers, tracks progress of bugs resolutions, and mark the bugs as closed. He also creates a regular status reports on the bug resolution status. Now, let's see how all the actors involved in the quality assurance process interact with each other. The first steps happens when a bug is first discovered. The tester, either a project team member or a professional tester, following a test script, finds a bug. For example, the test script could say something like this: add a product to the wish list and then move the product from the wish list to the shopping cart. If the tester is not able to add a product to the wish list or to move the product from the wish list to the shopping cart, the tester will report a bug, and he or she will open a ticket in the bug tracking tool. When a tester reports a bug in the system, he or she also will add some specifications, such as instructions to reproduce the bug. This will help the developer to quickly reproduce the conditions when the bug was found. The tester will also generate a report on which device and which operating system was in use when the bug was found. For example, I was using Safari on iPad Pro. In the second step, the QA lead will check all the information available on the bug, and he or she will double check that the bug has not been reported yet in the system. This is important, otherwise we may have more bugs than expected on the bug tracking tool or duplicated bugs. The QA lead will then assign the bug to a team member to work on the issue. Please note that I'm using bug and issue as synonyms in this moment. In step 3, the developer fixes the issue on the development environment and marks the issue as fixed. The developer marks the bug as fixed or solved, but he doesn't close the ticket on the bug tracking tool. Only the person who reported the bug or the QA lead should proceed to mark the issue as closed. In the last step, the person who reported the bug or the QA lead will check that the bug is actually being fixed on the platform, and he or she will mark the issue as closed in the bug tracking tool. A rule of thumb for organization, each member is responsible for testing his own department, his own area. So the content team should check that the content has been uploaded correctly. The designers should check the design has been implemented correctly. The digital marketing team should check or coordinate the verification of correct installation of marketing tags, product feed, and other features. The analytics team should check the data. The customer service should check, for example, information about product sizes and other customer service information, and so on. So each team member needs to test the area of his responsibility. It makes sense, and it's also efficient from an organization standpoint. What tools do we need for this job? Usually there is a bug tracker involved, which is a software that allows you to track the bugs as a list, like an Excel sheet, but a bit more structured, and possibly with a workflow. And there's specific fields like bugs severity and the status of the bugs, open, in progress, solved, and so on. Also, it is structured so that the bug opener and the QA lead can close the bug, so there can be rules about who can do what. And also, it would be nice if the bug tracker tool could provide with a report of how many bugs are open at a specific date, so that makes easy the work of the QA lead to do this type of reporting. Now we get to the service level agreement, which I think is interesting for most of you. So, which is like what to ask your developers for or your system integrator for when you negotiate the contract. I usually consider after the go live a period of 2 weeks, but it can be more. That is called hypercare or post go live support. And in this time frame, I ask my suppliers to ensure that all the bugs reported in that specific time frame are fixed, included in the initial price agreed. And this can happen because during QA or after the release, new bugs are generated by the release itself. So you need some time after the release to retest the website and report any bugs that are still open. And this is a note for people who are the client, on the client side. So you need to make sure that you and your developers are sure on what is expected. And generally, the only way to be sure is that the expectations are written down somewhere. For example, you can work on a document that contains all the technical details, wireframes, estimated time for bug fixing, post-go-live support period or hypercare, and all these things. It's better and easier for both parties if it's, let's say, written in a document. And now we take a look at the go, no-go criteria, which we mentioned earlier. So at some point, when you need to go live, you may have still a number of bugs open on your website. It's difficult that new project like a website or an application goes live bug-free. So usually the best thing to do is to agree with the management a maximum number of bugs that can be present in the system at the moment of go live. Usually the number of blockers of blocking bugs should be 0, but there could be like a minimum number of major bugs and a number of minor bugs. And this could be an acceptable solution for all parties involved, for the agency, for the client, and for the stakeholders involved. And also agree on an expected time for delivery for bug fixing after the go live itself. And with this, we go to the summary. So I think, and we think that with QA processes in place, you'll go live on time, on budget, and with satisfied stakeholders. you need to make sure that expectations are written when you negotiate with contracts with your supplier. And just to remind you that all the components of the digital products have to be tested. So the design part, the user experience, the content, data flow, as we mentioned in the integration testing, then the payments, invoice, and shipping. So all the parts need to be tested. And I stop here for the moment, and I would let now Lorenzo take on and continue.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Enrico. I'm Lorenzo, and thank you, Enrico, for introducing me. I'm really happy and excited to share with you some interesting demonstration and some data in order to show you why, it's so important. Okay, here we are. Why it's so important to have a very good quality assurance on your e-commerce. And first of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Lorenzo, and as Enrico said, today we will talk about quality assurance, and I am Sales Director and Digital Quality Consultant in Unguess. You might be wondering, who am I to talk to you about quality assurance, and what experience backs my method, designed to make your work easier, safer, but also, I would say, more scalable and enjoyable. I, Lorenzo, have helped more than 150 companies, including some of the most important companies in Italy and in Europe in the fashion industry, build high-quality e-commerce with a stunning user experience and, above all, with no bugs at all, working with crowd testing. And today, as Enrico said, we will talk about software quality, quality assurance, and its impact on e-commerce performance. So the relationship between the e-commerce and the quality assurance, the e-commerce performance and the quality assurance. To do so, first of all, let me introduce the concept of empathy gap. I know that some of you already know this concept, but let me look at it and talk about it from a different perspective, the perspective of revenue loss. In fact, Capgemini's research highlights that a lot of companies, a lot of organizations, a lot of e-commerce think that they have a very good product, no bugs, perfect user experience, whatever. In fact, even though 75% of the companies think they are customer-centric with a very good product, no bugs, whatever, only 30% of customers agree. And the difference between these two numbers is exactly the empathy gap. And it might sound like an immaterial issue, but the effects are extremely tangible. This is a taste of the effects of lack of empathy, but above all, of lack of digital quality. 72% of users switch to the competitor in case of a bad UX, a bad user experience. 69% of online shoppers abandon their shopping carts. And I would say the most dramatic number, 84% of users won't try a failing app if it fails just one time. So now you see why it's so important to have a very good quality on your e-commerce. But how it is possible to reach the important goal of having a bug-free e-commerce, a bug-free product? It is possible also with crowd testing. The important thing is to test, and you can do it also with crowd testing. Quality, in fact, is more and more the winning factor in web and mobile business. And find defects before your users do is crucial, is extremely important. And what we do at Unguess, but you can do it also by yourself or using a different provider or a system integrator, as Enrico said, is with crowd. We use a crowd of professional testers in order to find any problem, any defects, and realize an e-commerce that is completely bug-free. In fact, we can use the crowd for close the empathy gap, both for quality and also for user experience. So today we will focus on the verification process, the quality assurance process. But I would like to underline that it's possible also to use the crowd in order to work on the validation process, the user experience analysis. But how it is possible to use this crowd for having this very good product without any bug? We can involve the crowd for manual testing with real users and with their devices. And we can also mix this crowd with testing automation for better results. With crowd, we will have higher coverage of devices, browsers, and operative systems, and also a mix of these three factors. You could test with people in different countries, speaking different languages and trying different payment system. And it's also extremely fast. And you can also use the crowd testing for quick feedback that is perfect for agile testing. But how it is possible to, get a very good product without any bug? Through the usage of professional testers. This is exactly what happens every time we launch a test in crowd testing for the quality assurance. So first of all, we shape the test by selecting a customized group of testers that better fit the requirements, any requirement. Then we start with the test setup. We define the test script with the client, but first of all, the most important thing is that we create an ad hoc test manual custom-made for any product feature. Then we start with the test itself, with the product distribution, the e-commerce distribution, or the website, the application distribution, whatever. We start with the crowd management, and we have this full managed approach. We will help the testers, the professional testers, in doing their job. If they have any question, we are at disposal, whatever. And also we do the triage management. What is the triage management? Or every bug that is uploaded by our professional crowd, our professional testers, is verified, and we give a gravity of the test, of the bug. So we define how the bug could impact on your e-commerce. We also connect and integrate with the most common bug tracking tools. For example, Jira, or if you have or a client have a bug tracking tool that is custom, we can connect through API. The final part is the deliverable. We can give to the client a complete bug report with detailed, specific, and actionable feedback. Also, if needed, we can also organize a debrief meeting with the client in which we can focus on any bug. Now you see, this is the process of having a bug-free e-commerce. Okay, now you could think, I can do it by myself. I can do it in-house. I can use, I don't know, a young intern or family and friends. All of these approaches have something in common. It's a vacuum approach because they will have a small test device lab. It will be quite slow and I would say also quite costly. And you will work with non-motivated testers. With professional crowd testing, you will rely on real testers with a fresh eye approach. 220,000 devices. It's not possible to have a test device lab, an internal test device lab with that amount of device, but also 50,000 paid ready testers. It's extremely fast. We can have results in one day, and it's also extremely flexible. Why and how it is so flexible? As Unguess, we have 50,000 daily engaged testers, but we can reach up to 150 million people all over the world. So let me make an example. If you need a Korean woman in Seoul, fashion addicted, high spender, yes, we can find that person in Seoul without any problem. Probably she won't be in the daily engaged testers, but we can reach through our total reachable capabilities, this person. Based on clients' needs, in fact, we activate the right audience in terms of number of testers, skill required, demographics, whatever. For the quality assurance, we are speaking today about quality assurance, we will go on a really high activation level, high vetting, so professional testers. The professional testers are perfect for quality assurance, test case bug finding, diary studies, exploratory testing, more on the quality assurance side. Okay, now you can think that your website is bug-free, so it's not something that can interest you. But I wouldn't be so sure about this, because we were able to do this luxury commerce challenge back in February of this year, when Milano Fashion Week 2023 was approaching. We launched a campaign on our crowd to test 8 of the most influential brands in the fashion industry to find out if they offer an e-commerce experience up to their level brand. And the results were quite interesting. As I said, we involved 40 testers. We tested 8 luxury brands, in desktop and mobile. And in 24 hours, we were able to have the first results. And the results were quite interesting, because 100% of the brands presented high severity bugs. So all the brands had these really important bugs. We were able to find 142 bugs, and 40% of these bugs were high or critical. And this is a quite interesting result. But let's have a look, a deeper look at the results. As you can see, this is the bug split. The majority of the bugs we were able to find were malfunction. Malfunction are conversion killer bugs. For example, a button that is not working, a page that is not existing, extremely slow website. These are malfunction. And as I said, they will kill your conversion. But let's focus on different type of bugs we were able to find. Filters, all brands have malfunction regarding the filters. The call to action of the filters is not present or is not working. Color filters gives inconsistent results. The size filters does not offer correct results. Products are not filtered and sorted correctly. This is a classic. Every time we look into a website, an e-commerce, filters are not working in the right way. But also cart management, and as you can imagine, cart management is quite important if you would like to boost conversion. 6 out of 8 brands experience cart malfunctions. Cannot change product quantity. I can't remove a product from the cart. Error message that appears after adding 2 products to the cart. Why? Cannot add multiple quantities of the same products to the cart. This is also quite interesting. The products in the cart disappears if I try to change the format. Interesting. The availability of a product is only shown to me in the cart. This is not a very good user experience, and it is not immediately clear whether the taxation is included in the total or not. Shipping information. This is important, but sometimes it's not a priority for e-commerce manager, but it is for the management of all the shipping part. 5 out of 8 brands have malfunction in this section. A non-existing or fictitious address is accepted, managing to proceed anyway after completing the checkout. No address control. There is a lack of mutual control between locality and postal code. And the last one, checkout. This is extremely important, and all brands have malfunction in checkout. Cart becomes empty after cancelment paying with Alipay or PayPal. If we are providing this kind of payment, it must work. The checkout page is empty after clicking on edit and then on collect in boutique. Unable to proceed with the quick purchase with Google Pay. But if we are providing this kind of payment, it must work. It's not clear whether taxes have already been included in the total or not, like the previous slide. Shipping costs change when changing size when shipping is always free. This is also quite strange. So now you see most of the e-commerce we analyze are, I don't want to say full of bugs, but yes, full of bugs. So I've just finished. Thank you very much for your attention. And I don't know if there are any questions, I'm here to answer.